उसमें चांसेस रहता था, बोर्ड वाले जो है ना होते थे ना, वो उनको कोई पूछने वाला नहीं होता था. आप समझना इस बात को पहले, थोड़ा बहुत मैं सम अप करूँगा क्योंकि वारियान थोड़ा बहुत ना सो मॉरल गोमुत एक्टिवेट कि नाउ देयर इज़ नो बोर्ड एंड वी आर ऑल फ्री लाइक बर्ड्स, वी कैन फ्लाई everywhere, है ना. We have got open wings now to move hither and thither. है ना, hither क्या go? Yes, it's a traditional form of here and there, 15th century English. ठीक है. And now, previously what would happen, the responsibilities were, taken by the board, and there were chances that if some student would get least marks, board had got the authority. Negotiation. They would, for example, if some student would get 27 or some 35 marks, okay, and board had the authority that he would give him 7 or 8 marks more to get him through in the 10th class. But now the question is that, the thing has, vanished. One class teacher is accountable. For example, tomorrow after annual study, annual examination, and your evaluations will be done by teachers like us. Is karo ta evaluation schools mas teacher asan magar is accountable. We are accountable to what? Accountable to board. Agar is मामूली गलती करना, for example, अगर 27 ही में 7.5 दिन पैक ना हो दिन, ये याद रखना. ओतोइनोस अगर 3 बोर्ड वोल तमिस ओस न पतकिन प्रचन वोल बोर्ड वोल अगर था ना कस 3 वाले 40 मार्क्स कशिर पर तार फिक्रे, so was enough. That was enough. यानी कि there was no person above him to ask him about it, why he has exceeded the marks of the candidate, right? Now the question is that if you get only 25 marks and your class teacher is not in a position to extend the marks even a bit, so extend so kariye. Why? Because he is accountable. There will be questions raised on him. If the student has got only 20 marks, how is it possible that you have given that candidate 30 or 27 marks? On what basis? 16 17 marks. This raises the most important concern for you. And don't consider that your examination has been, I mean there is some kind of relieving atmosphere for you. Relieving is there is no relieving like word in your 10th class now, in your life even. So remember, so kaisma ye guman ki me 10th class asan to winchen me body and I'll be sent through when sozan me janabili directs mas na. This is not the case. The case is rather different, right? So you have to do all the different things. You have to do, very much hard work, to pass. And remember, yath mas chu ab main benefit ke bare mein bataunga. अगर तो if you remember, you see text मैंने इसलिए मंगाई है text, otherwise I don't have to do anything to the text. You see forward, as a forward text us. This is the forward to the text. Everything is written in the text. Very, I mean, this is called a way forward. What students have to do, what teachers have to, prepare for students. It's written in this forward. Yath much as a for example, if you have to go to like Srinagar much varia jay. Srinagar, I'll support an example for you. There are so many places in Srinagar. Bono the eki jay gachu Srinagar mazan. So I said location yatmaz tu asu gamit. Take the example of Sadrbal, for example. Sadrbal. बोनिए मिस बची बेटा आप सदरबल जाओ, आपको पता है कहाँ है सदरबल? आपको पता है? आपको पता है सदरबल कहाँ है? मत पता है? ये से पता ही से खबर क्या सकता सदरबल? Now sir, I will leave. I will just go into बनियर ठीक है बुप्रच बाकियन. हाँ वो भी एक ऑप्शन है. That's an option for you. कि चवानक जैसे आप 4 किलोमीटर जाओगे and then you'll ask somebody for the directions and he'll tell you where to take the road, right? And but what happens in the process? At process में क्या शुगर? In the process, it takes too much time for you to reach that place, that destination, right? समझे वहाँ? It takes too much time for you to reach that destination, and there are so many troubles involved where you leave. You might have gone through the poem. You remember in 9th class there was a poem like a road not taken, something like Robert Frost has written that poem, a nature poet. Have you do you remember that poem?
Yes.
A road not taken. He says, the poet says there are two roads, one used by, one unused. You remember?
Yes.
Two roads are there, and he chooses the road which is not used. He does not choose the road used by. जिस रोड पे गुजर चुके हुए लोग होते हैं वो रोड नहीं चुनता है, वो कौन सा रोड चुनता है? ये फिर वो दूसरी लाइन में कहता है देयर आर ट्रबल्स, देयर आर रिस्क्स इन्वॉल्वड व्हाइल वॉकिंग ऑन थ्रू दिस रोड. पाँच से दो लाइन, नेक्स्ट लाइन जो फॉलो करती है ना, उसमें कहता है कि यानी दिस इज डेंस, द रोड इज डेंस, द लीव्स आर स्टिल अनट्रैम्पल्ड लाइक अभी किसी ने पैर भी नहीं रखा है उन पत्तों पे, ठीक है. एंड देयर इज कंप्लीटली ग्लूमी एटमॉस्फेयर, ग्लूमी इन द सेंस की डरोनिश, मेस्ड, आओ समझ, chances are tiger might come and pounce upon that person, that poet, right? But he says no, I have no option but to use this road because there are challenges, there is adventure, and there is knowledge, there is the things to learn while using the road which is not used yet. मगर तथ मज सत क्या वनान चैलेंज, इथे कन अगर ऐ गुन सदरबल ऐ challenges, you have to ask lots of people where to go. But अगर ऐ गोडनथी रोड ऐसी पता हुत लग ना टाइम वातनस, possibilities I mean direction-less shuk, it will lead you to somewhere. Sometimes you have to go 5 kilometers far and then come back to reach your destination. And what happens when you know the road? road what happens then? You easily reach and you don't have to ask anyone. So you just have to pick up the bus and you know your destination, and what happens in the process, it takes minimum time for you to reach, and there are no troubles involved and there are no risks involved, and there is no a kind of struggle. You don't have to ask anyone, no adventure at all, smooth way, because you know. How do you know? Because you have already had the knowledge, you have covered information about it, you have gone through, you have asked different people, you have studied from the book. This is what actually why I said that this forward is important. This forward is a kind of way forward for you to understand what you have to do throughout the text. So get your text, which usually Adil sir, which usually students or teachers like to teach students. Usually teacher timchini forward parnava, which is very important. Although agar forward is masana kam point likhit, teacher has got the capability to ask each and everything about. He can expand the things. For example, there is one thing written for you, but teacher can come, he can expand that thing, what actually this thing involves into. When the देखो, I usually switch to English language while teaching English language, right? Which is parnama ज़्यादातर English language मज़ी. तिक्याज़े अक्सर बेशतर अगर आपने student करना complain, अगर complain करना का कि that sir ऐसा सर सुन दिवा समझी सिस्टम इस खतर मलामत ये याद रखना, क्योंकि English आप एक subject के तौर पर नहीं पढ़ते हो, आप एक language के तौर पर पढ़ते हो. Do you remember? You read English as a language, not as a subject. Language क्या है?
Language.
It's not language. Wage क्या है? Wage. Last में short करना है. Message, passage, cabbage. हाँ? Language. अगर का language हुआ ना, then there is no difference between commoner हो गया आम इंसान जो रोड पे चलता फिरता देखता है ना, तिलमंज वो like. तिमतिश language is one language. And you should differentiate, you should contrast yourself from the person who is informal, who is not concerned to the studies. समझ आए मान? मेरी तरफ तवज्जो, ठीक है? So this you have to read, and your responsibility when you go to home, you have to open this text and you have to start from this line. तो शुयात लाइन पर करूँ start. तभी जाके आपको पता चलेगा कि इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज पढ़ने से आपको क्या हो सकता है या इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज आपको कैसे पढ़नी है. समझ आए मान? यूजुअली क्या है यूजुअली आज तक मैं आपको बताऊंगा why the standard of students इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, नॉट जम्मू, जम्मू को साइड में कीजिए, कश्मीर पर्टिकुलरली, हम कश्मीर की बात, सब कश्मीर। मैं आपको बहुत अच्छे पॉइंट्स बताऊंगा, सम आई मीन विच वी कॉल crucial points, tenets, characteristics, factors responsible of not learning language very quickly in Kashmir. Kya factors yim zabardast responsible chu yim jaldi chu kashir students English language hechnaun khatir majboor karan kihin ya tim se asar pewan, tim kum factors chu thik cha? Among you you are 40 students, can anybody tell me, I just throw an open question for you, what are the hindrances in the way of learning English language? कौन सी रुकावटें आपको फील हो रही है? For example, everybody, you are in 10th class, 11th, 12th, I remember myself, मैं post graduation students यमान, सर ऐसा ना languages में exposure, please हमें 10-15 दिन दे दो, हम language में ठीक हो सकते हैं। या कभी कभी 12th क्लास में एग्जामिनेशन बहुत नज़दीक होता है, it's at your door and students begin to flow, सर हमें पता ही नहीं है करना क्या है लैंग्वेज में, just try to tell us things which are in shortcut so that we can understand what to do in examination or qualify examination. या competitive exam में बच्चे बैठते हैं, they sit in competitive exams like how many competitive examinations are there in the world today, or particularly in India. So usually students go there and they sit, but they face the most biggest challenge, that's language. One of the biggest challenge they face of language. Sir, हम competitive exam भी face कर सकते हैं, but mostly what happens, हमें language समझ में नहीं आती है. And remember, competitive exam में जो बड़े एग्जाम होते हैं ना, उनमें अक्सर बेशतर बच्चे बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं, qualified भी होते हैं, knowledgeable भी होते हैं, but why they fail? They fail only because they don't understand the question. तमन crux of question यवहाँ समझ? Question is very simple, but sometimes it is twisted, it is put in very complicated way in examination, and student जाता है ना, इसने पढ़ा भी होता है, इसको समझ भी आ गया होता है, लेकिन what happens at the end, इसको question ही समझ में नहीं आता है because of lack of language, hindrance to language. अब आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ, आप मुझे बताइए what are the factors responsible in the way of learning language. कोई भी बच्चा बताओ मुझे, कश्मीर, पर्टिकुलरली कश्मीर, ये इंडिया में नहीं है, आप अगर कहोगे ना इंडिया में, जम्मू में, ये प्रॉब्लम वहाँ पे नहीं है. स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम सेकेंड क्लास, राइट फ्रॉम फर्स्ट क्लास, दे आर फ्लुएंट, इवन बोल्ड, they are very candidly speaking with their teachers, with their family members, with their strangers as well. They don't have botheration, they don't have concern about English language. Why in Kashmir? कश्मीर में ऐसा क्या है कि बच्चे अक्सर बेशतर, देयर इज नो डिफरेंस. अगर आप कहोगे सर जम्मू एक है, कश्मीर एक है, पहाड़ियों को पार करना पड़ता है, इट्स नॉट अ लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस दैट सेट्स अस डिफरेंट फ्रॉम देम. यपर कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट्स कैलिबरस मज मेंटल कैपेसिटी मज बेटर मान देन अदर रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. दे कैन अंडरस्टैंड लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, बट व्हाई फेस प्रॉब्लम्स इन लैंग्वेज? कोई मुझे बता आप में से, व्हाट आर द हिंड्रेंसेस? कुछ चीज यूज बचस रुकावान. फॉर एग्जांपल आप बालिग हो चुके हो, हाँ, आपको भी दिमाग में ऐसी परेशानियां फील होती होगी कि सर बहुत यथा इंग्लिश पे कत कर, मगर मैं लास्टस तगान कहें, मे क्या दलील तलसा वनियो मैं कह एमंग यू. हाँ उठो बेटा, हाँ उठो. क्या होती है? एक मिनट. हेजिटेशन. व्हाट्स योर नेम? ज़ैनब, सुनो मेरी बात. हेजिटेशन एक एक करके उठाएंगे. हेजिटेशन. एनीवन एल्स? और कुछ?
Yes, sir. If I casually try to talk in English, if I at home, like my parents or my siblings criticizes me for that.
Okay, criticism one of the factor. Okay, anything else? ये स्टॉप करेगी, उसके बाद दूसरा उठेगा. शाबाश, यू आर फ्री. फील फ्री टू टॉक टू मी. classroom is not supposed to be one-sided. Remember this thing. It was a traditional approach. The teacher would come in the classroom and have a one-sided approach in the classroom. उससे कुछ नहीं होता है. जो NEP 2020 है ना, Adil sir, it's my suggestion for all the teachers of the academy that they should at least tell students about NEP 2020, which is very important because recently that has been implemented by Government of India, and all the students should have information about NEP 2020, what it talks about, because that is student centric mostly. That's not teacher centric. Teacher has to prepare. NEP 2020 is student centric. क्या है? Student centric. यानी कि यम ते आत्मा चीज है ना, तिम से student सिन खातिर. अगर मैं इस बच्ची को कहूँगा NEP 2020 क्या है बेटा? पता है? कुछ भी नहीं पता है. अगर मैं आपको बताऊंगा NEP 2020 क्या है, पता है आपको? अगर मैं आपको बताऊं, है पता आपको? बेटा आपको बताऊं, है पता? मत है किसी को? आपको पता है? आपको पता है? आपको पता है? मत है किसी को पता? एटलीस्ट स्टूडेंट टीचर्स देखो कोई भी आएगा ना, वो सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन, बैठो, सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन, वन ऑफ द मेन क्वेश्चन दैट विल बी रेज्ड टू द टीचर in today's classroom is, do you work according to NEP 2020 in classroom? This is the question which is crucial, and teachers must get equipped with the knowledge, with the certain, instrumental points that can motivate that inspector, whosoever will come to inspect you. Academies are not open. Remember, there are evaluators outside sting. They'll come and ask certain questions to you. You should be able to answer. You should be able to reply. And even students, कल जाके स्टूडेंट कोई किसी स्टूडेंट्स को उठाया जाएगा, what's NEP 2020, he should have no, when there is nothing coming out from his mouth, what will happen? आप मुझे बता कोई हिंड्रेंस उठो. लेक्स नहीं, लेक ऑफ. ठीक है, लेक ऑफ, वेरी गुड पॉइंट. लेक ऑफ vocabulary, हाँ, चेक स्पेलिंग, हाँ, vocabulary. क्या मुझे लड़कों में से, लड़कियां ज़्यादा यहाँ पे रेस्पॉन्ड कर रही है, लड़कों में से बता बेटा. यू आर फ्री, देखो आप फ्री हो. समान का कह पॉइंट युस रुकावट बनान क्लासरूमस मज. हाँ बेटा आप बता. शाबाश. फील फ्री, यू आर नॉट रेस्ट्रिक्टेड. देखो कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि टीचर कम्स, है ना, योर टीचर इज इन द क्लासरूम, यू बिगिन टू फील वेरी मच kind of so like she said hesitation, which in linguistically embarrassment. क्या बोलते हैं? Embarrassment. So you don't have to feel embarrassed. Don't feel embarrassed. हाँ, good. Somebody spoke. Come on, speak it again. क्या बोला? माना? मान सर, मान. हाँ, किसने बोला? किसी ने बोला? किसी ने कुछ बोला? हाँ, वुचू क्या चीज छु यम सारी खुद बड़ी बार चैलेंज, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट, जिसको हम क्या कहेंगे, चुना तुम वनान सुम बिगेस्ट हिंड्रेंसेस या ग्रेटेस्ट हिंड्रेंसेस इन द वे ऑफ लैंग्वेज. बता, मैं तो मुश्ताक हूं यार आपका सुनने के लिए. इंग्लिश में अगर बात करोगे ना, देखो आई यूजुअली हाँ, आप दिमाग में रखना, डोंट फॉरगेट इट, योर पॉइंट. ठीक है, यूजुअली क्या होता है कि स्टूडेंट्स, सुनो मेरी बात, students, I usually give assignments and tell students that come with this assignment from whom, right? And I like to check, I love to check the assignment if that is 100% wrong from the student's point of view. अगर स्टूडेंट है ना 100% रॉन्ग पसंद करान सो वुचन. अगर स्टूडेंट ना नेट पे तरित या कस हेतुन लिखित बस करान सो 0% पसंद. तिक्याज it is errors and mistakes that lead you to perfection. यम गलती ना, गलती आज कर रखना गलती. I still watch my rough copies. यमन पे मैं गलती कर मचा, आज मुझे हंसी आती है उनको देखने में कि what I was used to, मैं क्या करता था. एंड I was feeling proud in the 7th Sikai then तमन तथ जमानस मज बह करान सतमिस आसमानस पे पान फील बस लेखान जबरदस्त एंड ये टीचरस ब्रोह ना गसान इवन दे वुड एप्रिशिएट तम दपान यम कोर्मुत पाने तम जन करान डिस्करेज सो डिमोटिवेशनल इज नॉट अ थिंग इन क्लासरूम इन एकेडमिक्स रिमेंबर तो आप just you have get up, you have dared to begin. The important thing in taking in a game, for example, in a classroom, is to take participation, not to win it. Leave winning aside. Leave speaking right. Leave providing right answers, giving good replies. The best thing is to reply in English. Just try to speak in English, है ना? Begin to speak in English. Nobody there is सुनो you have got every मैं अब एक बात बताऊंगा you have got every democratic freedom to speak freely. No Obama or George Bush क्या बोलते हैं उसको और Donald Trump will stop you. Speak. ठीक है कोई stop नहीं करेगा आपको. Lack of confidence. और कुछ ठीक है बोलो 1-2 पॉइंट ना शी इज नॉट स्पीकिंग इसने आसान ठीक चुप एक मिनट व्हाट शुड बी टीचर्स रोल अकॉर्डिंग टू यू What if ठीक है क्या लग रहा है आपको अगर क्लासरूम में टीचर आए वेरी सीरियस रिमेंबर दिस थिंग कि टीचर को चाहिए कि कंप्लीटली इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में ही पढ़ाए या किसी और लैंग्वेज को स्विच करे इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज डू यू प्रेफर इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज आर यू श्योर अगर आपको समझ में पूरा भी नहीं आएगा आर यू स्टिल श्योर इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में होना चाहिए गुड रिप्लाई बैठो यही से आपको फॉरवर्ड बता रहा है कि इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश इफ यू वांट टू लर्न सुनो इफ यू वांट टू प्रोपेल if you want to learn if you want to progress if you want to develop if you want to grow in English language the first and best and foremost thing while learning English language is that any role model remember it's not teacher it's role model any role model comes in the classroom he must speak in simple English lucidity is the thing that matters a lot in classroom
also teachers they are not able to speak in English
that's what is the problem although they teach subjects that's okay for example if they teach Urdu that's okay if they teach mathematics that's okay if they teach science is conceptual suniye meri baat science is conceptual English is not conceptual you can just look at me science is conceptual in science you have to answer questions about how why है ना and there are concepts ideas in English there are no concepts there are no ideas in English is a language yes basic that's what I am saying English is a language and teachers who do not speak English while teaching English as a language they can never justify English language they can never justify remember it is the responsibility of a teacher to switch in English medium while teaching English not as a subject but as a language आपको पता है sometimes what happens when a teacher comes in the classroom sometimes student when there are so many classes for example if your process happens from January 1st and it takes 2 months for English language course in classroom to get you through in speaking basic English language इस दौरान क्या होता है कि अगर आपका इंग्लिश टीचर आपको 2 महीने रेगुलरली पढ़ा रहा है इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में ठीक है if he speaks only English while teaching English language there is a habit that gets developed in you at least you begin to copy your teachers okay and that copying matters a lot you understand too much English so much English while copying your teacher so that's what is answer to your question that sometimes teachers fail when बस सर 2 मिनट. When teachers fail, students will automatically fail. So the most important thing in a classroom, in English language classroom, is that teacher as well as students have to collaborate. They have to negotiate. For example, there are certain students in the classroom who can hardly understand English language, but they should not complain about it. They should not, because English is more about habit. English is more about, for example, if Aslam sir has here talked certain things in English, naturally, spontaneously, certain things got in your mind. You tomorrow begin to try about certain things, okay? And naturally there is a development, there is a growth, there is a progress in English language, okay? Samjha iwa? And one of the most, you same point when one woman, you see hesitation che, ye kya chu? Ye aap answer, iska answer aap nikaloge, theek hai? Ye chhin zaruri teacher yotan diyota answer kya? You see embarrassment chu, ye kya chu gasan? You can just think at home and begin to answer these questions. Why hesitation? Somebody said criticism. For example, some student got up, he spoke boldly about, sir, can I switch to Kashmiri language? I said it's okay, but it's not all the time okay. ये हमेशा के लिए okay नहीं है. ये okay है science class में, English class में it's not okay. You have to switch to English language even if you are doing. George Bernard Shaw, great writer, English language is अच्छे now. बस 1 minute नहीं बता, I'll stop. George Bernard Shaw, GB Shaw, he is famous for. Sichwanan ak mashhoor kath, I'll just put it on board and I'll leave. I'll stop my class. GB Shah ak famous ak playlist dramas lekha. Ishwanan speak. Kya wana? Speak. Even if you speak, even if you speak, क्या है 100%? क्या है? ठीक है? English language learner खतर छु कथ. One who wants to learn. GB शा छु ना, ये छु native England उक. England ची language इत करा इस्तेमाल. England उक नफर छ इस वनान अगर तु ही non-natives गए England never. अगर तो ही है चुन English language. If you want to learn, progress in English language, speak it. The matter is speaking. Condition is speaking. Remember, speaking. Even if it comes at the cost of 100% wrong. Agar chon is speaking shima at the cost of 100% wrong. Kya is it? When you begin to speak, you begin somewhere. Start start. How is it possible that you learn English language? Cha mumkin? Cha beta mumkin? Tel kya kariyo tu? One challenges, vocabulary, sir, sir, you says criticism, criticism society must get bro. Criticism is a part of growth and development. You must face criticism. Criticism society must he should question himself. Criticism. You must face criticism in order to develop yourself. Goes criticism teaching question, keen hesitation. In classroom, you are all free. You don't have to bother about whosoever. When I was in the classroom, I was teacher aksar manan. When you get up, consider everybody as a stone. Baki gasan kani samjhi and begin to speak. So agar kais hesitation chusna ka bolet keen ak philosopher chwana sajdabar agar cha audience cheeze kharan. If you fear audience. So she dar audience. Speak to mirror. She is patas karan. Hi, how are you? Fine. Okay. Can you talk to me in this way? Huh? She is at least one audience. Chusna audience, and he learned there. And even if you fear mirror, speak to walls. Do you remember Abraham Lincoln of America, former president of America? He would speak to trees. So lure to patos kulen sait asa kat karan. Temis huti layan so lure ana sait pato janglas mas bewan te kais ne sabak yaad patos laya kulen. Are aapke liye example hai and those in America, in Europe, in England, they talk certain things which are very crucial for you to learn. Why don't you act? All things can be determined only through your action. action is very important in any case. अगर तुम वनान ना सर फॉर एग्जांपल बोलो तो तुम साइकिल तक चलावन माशो तक यह कित हेचो चलावन ना यह हेचो कित गर कूनस मज बिहन प्रत दोष वन मे तगनी मगर बिहन गर यह हेचवा तिथ तुम ती करान इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज सर अस इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज कर मगर होर बिहित गो साइकिल अन अत पे खसन दब 5-6 खेन आवा समझ ये दब 5-6 खेमो ना और योर ब्रेक तगन पाने रटने हाँ पे तगन चेन तालन तथ पाने पे बाकी चीज तगन पाने क्या when you get yourself on it ये अत पे खसान तिथे कन तुम लैंग्वेजस मज अचुन ये तुम लैंग्वेजस मज चो ना अत लगन वारिया दब यानी कि मज फाल्ट्रेशन मतलब मज तक वर्ड अत फोप उसी को एफेशिया स्टैमरिंग है ना all these things determine your language ये 15-20 दो गसने ना 15 दो वनक दबक ओ यार मुझे तो अब सारा कुछ आ रहा है समझ आए मान तला लास्ट कथ वन यू स्पीक इवन यू इफ यू स्पीक 100% रॉन्ग स्पीक इवन इफ यू स्पीक 100% किसका सेंटेंस है किसका कोट है GB शॉ ये मशहूर राइटर क्या और ये इंग्लैंड का है यम हेचना इंग्लिश यो सान खतर यह कथ वनान यही तो हमारे लिए ये बात बता रहा है यह कथ वन मैं अम मूजूब तुम गो पन्नी जाए रोजन यह फ्रस्ट्रेशन कहें कि अगर बह गलत वन मे कर क्रिटिसाइज कह ठीक है बेटा